To Jim Zabrowski and Jordan Peterson, just how, if at all, will their responsibilities be different? Why do you think is important?
Well, obviously Jim's will change a lot for, the bowl game. He's calling the game. Jordan's, it's probably just more recognizing some of the current work that both of these guys do and their impact. I think you see that across college football with different titles, and Jordan had pass game coordinator. It's just probably another small promotion, I guess, of sorts, and continues. When Brian missed first game, and Jordan called it, there was just some things that kind of naturally evolved, and there's some ways that Jordan has kind of, like I say, evolved into that role of doing some things and being another voice with the defensive unit at times. So it's not a huge change, but again, the collaboration of both sides of the ball is always there, and they have that. And I think probably the next thing will go into Jeff Grimes joining us, and I think that was one of the key factors when I talked to people is. That our terminology, our philosophies and schemes are going to stay intact. There'll be additions and modifications, I'm sure, as that continues as well. But I wanted someone that was going to be able to work well with the group that's already here. And I think Jim's strengths and things are going to be a great complement, as well as the rest of the guys in the room.
You mentioned hiring Jeff. What did that process look like of narrowing down and deciding on him?
Like I said, I reached out to multiple candidates. I had many people reaching out as well. Again, some probably in just a tight end type position versus coordinating type opportunities. I was overwhelmed with some of the interest because some of the people that I reached out to, I thought might have been maybe not interested, and they were. And as it continued, again, that fit of what we're doing, knowledge of the conference, schematics, what else they could add, all those things. And but I also had many members, not just the offensive staff, many members of our program, staff members, talk with Jeff, and because it wasn't going to be, it's ultimately my decision, but I wanted it to be a good fit all the way around. And it just kept, like I said, stacking up to be the right decision.
Having the co-OC title for Coach Zabrowski and then for Coach Grimes, what do you imagine that relationship looking like during the game week?
Oh, he just got here last night. I mean, again, we're going to continue to look, and main focus is getting this team ready to play for this game. But we've talked about different scenarios that whether Jim move upstairs on a permanent basis, and Jeff's called the game mainly from the field. In his career, he's done both, so that could evolve, and Jim's experience in obviously a knowledge of the pass game and implementing those thoughts through the week may give us a more chance, and that's where I think some of that impactfulness of Jim having probably more say in the pass game than maybe previously, but is on game day. Again, guys, when you sit in there during the week, there's a lot of people, from analysts to everyone that gives input, and the coordinator will make the final decision.
You mentioned Jeff just getting here last night. What does the next few weeks look like?
Well, there's a lot of things going on, Michael. But he's watched his first practice. We've got some recruits here. He's going to meet some of them briefly, but he's just trying to get the lay of the land. He's going to watch and learn, see our practice. Like, Chance, and he saw some things that he's like, wow, how long you been doing that? And what's that? So that's part of it. He's going to sit in with the staff and see. He's going to get a chance to evaluate our personnel. We're going to get him out and meet some of our recruits. We're going to, and again, we've moved very, very fast on this. Okay, so some of this is, 72 hours at a time, and we'll continue to. But he'll be involved in watching and being part of this. That we're hoping to make this as easy transition for everyone. And as I told the team today when I introduced them, my first responsibility was to add to our program for their sake, and to make sure it was somebody that could fit. And again, we've talked a lot in these rooms, we've talked a lot in different areas about alignment and how important that is, and what has really helped this program move forward as quickly as it has. And I feel that Jeff Grimes is the perfect fit to help us continue on that path.
When you guys were leading up to Baylor in 2022, you had mentioned him as someone who you thought would be a head coach not long after that. So how excited were you to have him available as someone to add to your staff?
You must have went back and read some old.
I did.
He's, I would, administration, coaches, sometimes you have to make decisions for that have to be made, not always want to be made, and sometimes, unfortunately, I don't like using the word casualty, but there's people that sometimes lose jobs, and so those things happen in other programs and or in college football or college athletics. Like you said, if you look back after the 21 season, Jeff Grimes was one of the hottest coordinators in the country. Okay, well, that was a team that's picked to take last and won the league. You look at their team this last year; they played a lot of young players, and with young players, unfortunately, can cause inconsistencies and not always the success there. Now, we didn't play them, so we didn't study them. I don't know. Okay, and I didn't really even worry about that. I worry about what I saw in their abilities in the 2 years we did. And as you said, I was extremely excited for his interest. When he was let go, I reached out to him and invited him up and said, did you want to come up and if you want to come up and watch some bowl practice, I'd love to get a chance just to talk with you. And he had said that we were already talking in those regards before the position opened up.
Lance, have you had a chance to look ahead to UNLV at all?
Yeah, I've gone through most of their games just in kind of my quick over, as I've been traveling. I've been trying to get through the course of some of their games. I know the staff started on some. We got everybody back in here. Today's Saturday. Thursday after some travel, so preliminary stuff been put together. I haven't watched, again, a great year by them, one of their best years in, I don't know, what they say, 30 years or so, and they do a great job on offense. Schematically, there's some things that, principles that are a little bit, they use option game like we do. They've got, a stable of backs that can make people miss. They got an excellent receiver, a very good tight end that they use. Those have been the two main guys in the pass game, which I could really see defensively. Unique part of this was, Coach Odom was at Arkansas last year, right around this time is when he got the UNLV job. So, you kind of look back at those Arkansas games from the regular season a year ago in our bowl prep, and you can see some things that carry over to what they're doing this year. So, they beat an SEC team. They played Michigan early in the year. Once they settled in on their young quarterback with an outstanding year, they're a dangerous team, and we've got to be ready.
As you guys start the bowls, or as you guys start practicing right now, is there any young guys that have caught your attention, or maybe position groups?
Yeah, that's kind of hard. It's great to see, some of our young guys, like Taylor Davis is a safety that, shows up yesterday. Logan Brantley is a guy that we made the decision to redshirt after early in the year. Calvin Clements is going to get a lot of work, and it's going to be great to see him after getting in the Cincinnati game. I'm going to leave guys out if I do that. Johnny Thompson kind of caught my eye here towards the end of practice with a stop and start and kind of leaving, kind of making a guy break ankles there and stuff. You know, those are some of the quick ones off the start of some of those. Our two young freshman corners are extremely, you know, physical guys who play with great energy. They're going to benefit from this. And I think, you know, what I've learned last year is this is beneficial now, but where you really see it is towards the end of spring and early August is where you see these practices then as they kind of add up. You know, we'll get about 12 or so this time around, take the 15 from the spring, and then those young men have those 27 to kind of build into their next camp.
And then we're in the heat of the transfer portal. Just what have you seen from that? And also I want to get your take on how important NIL is with all of this tying in.
Well, you see a lot of coaches making comments about it, and it's extremely important. You can't tell. It's not any more than a year ago. You can't tell what's fact or fiction right now. We're holding in there in a lot of different ways. It's you've heard me say many times. It's here to stay. It's needed. I think what gets confused is, you know, the way it works of. You know, they say, well, coaches are making all these coaches that make all this money are saying all these things. Well, it isn't like we have a choice that the school, until that, whatever that new proposal was, which I haven't really dove into, but until the models change, it doesn't matter if coaches make $1 or whatever. It doesn't matter if they're saying it's needed. It's you know, and I think that's the part but it's you're going to see you're going to see the gaps widen if something doesn't change, though, in some way. But it is needed. I appreciate the people that have stepped up and helped us in this regard. I think I've seen our players, again, benefit in the right ways for this. And, you know, hopefully, you know, we continue to be strong there.
You guys have done a good job of using the portal to fill specific needs.
Yeah.
This offseason, what do you view are those specific
Well,
needs?
Again, we'll continue to look at every area to try to improve, but I've said it before, is in most instances at this time, we've allotted our high school scholarships that are committed to go to the seniors that are departing. We try to 1-for-1 in and out, okay? Then when you lose somebody in the portal, then you have to look at and replacing at that position. Now, does that mean we're not looking at all positions? Because you don't know when you're going to be surprised or something. But that's probably the best way to say it right now. That we'll continue to make our improvements in depth and in that as we move forward.
Lance, just looking at the success that Jeff's had in the past with quarterbacks like Zach Wilson, et cetera, what do you think he can add to this QB room and making Jalen and Zeke and Cole Ballard back?
You know, I don't know if I have one specific thing. I just think, again, Baylor's had some explosiveness, I think, in the past, and I think a great complement of what you do. And I think, you know, we had that with Andy, and I think we've become pretty multiple in all those ways, and that's kind of what we had talked about in the discussions, and the people that I talked with was, you know, I believe at this time, you know, what we're doing now is quite a bit added and different than what we did in our first month of games here. And it was different, and it's evolved differently than Buffalo, and it was even different than our last 2 years at Whitewater together. Okay, so it'll change, but it's not going to come in and be a whole new system, and that was important because one person can pick up more than asking 100 almost, and that was important. But now, what parts of those, and I think it's been our philosophy is to take what our players do and try to play to those strengths as best as possible instead of making all these players fit a system. That's the nice thing about what we've always tried to do, in my opinion. Now, what he'll do with those, again, you've mentioned some guys and what they've been able to do. What am I going to say that's going to be for Jalen Daniels next year or Cole Ballard? I don't know at that moment. I'll try to ask him after he watched his first practice if he saw, but I'm sure there will be. So. I will say this, I was always, I like some of their screen game and things that they did at Baylor. I thought they had some nice, incorporated some nice things that utilizes some things that hopefully we'll continue to build off of as well.
Coach.
All right,